Steady was game number one as No Org gradually constricted their grasp around Golden Guardians. There was never an opportunity after this fight, this one down in the bot lane, for Golden Guardians to turn the game back around. My name's TJ, joined by Matt and Iberia Clint Daniel with good news for Golden Guardians fans everywhere. And that good news is we're headed to game number two, a fresh start, and a chance maybe to forget the sins of this game one.
Yeah, I think I have two big takeaways from this game. I think number one is that No Org, while we have not been seeing them, have been tightening up their style and making it more poised, is how I describe it, because it is not the senseless aggression that they used to sometimes display. It's very calculated, very slow, and honestly, pretty strangulating. And that was how they won game number one. But the second thing I have is maybe for Golden Guardians, you ban away one of those combo pieces, because I feel like either taking away that safe Senna TK lane or taking away the Twisted Fate would work wonders.
What do you know about this, though? Viper
Nothing.
closing the game out with a 1v4 technical victory. Didn't get any kills.
These two clips, by the way, those last two, those were the same fight.
Yeah.
Just to anyone who was not here for game one.
Worth noting, as Viper did survive, and No Org, complete with a Viper who TP's in here at the end. It starts to get dicey, and Viper's just like, I'll get in here. Closed out game number one, putting them 1-0 up in this series. And many people, you come fresh into this series with the knowledge only that Golden Guardians are an LCS team and No Org are not. I don't think that's fair. Golden Guardians very much are a developmental academy team. This is a team with a lot of promising young players on it. Tally as the OPL veteran in the top side, and a lot of these other players are really fresh. Like Rosethorn didn't even have very much competitive experience before joining this team. So it's not fair to just boil it down to, academy versus amateur. Especially when you have so much experience over on the No Org side, right? You have multiple different LCS players there. Certainly plenty of people have been to LCS Academy. So there's a temptation to boil this down that I want to avoid here. The long and short of it is No Org showed up. They looked terrifying. And this is the tournament where they kind of have to. Because they are players who have had experience in previous tournaments. And if they want to kind of break the stigma that I think a lot of teams have, especially right now, around pulling people who have been tried previously back into the talent pool, they need to, go all the way here at Proving Grounds.
And I think they're on a great track to do that. That game number one was really just something else, because they were able to take what was a fairly minuscule early lead and just slowly build it. And we really only noticed it when the first two towers went down within like a couple of minutes. It was suddenly like, hey, No Org are just kind of winning this game slowly, aren't they? It didn't take a whole lot of fights. They weren't scrapping for it. They weren't going super aggressive into the enemy jungle for it. They were just taking the fights, winning them, and then winning off the rest of the macro, the rest of the laning. And I think Golden Guardians need to find an answer for that, and fast.
Yeah, I mean, they are doing what they've been doing for a lot of the season, which is scaling compositions, relatively quiet early games, you sit tight, you gain a 2,000 gold advantage, a 3,000 gold advantage, and it just keeps adding. And this is a team that I'm sure has weaknesses, but we haven't seen anyone find them yet. We haven't seen a team be able to demonstrate, you can beat them by smashing their early game through this lane or whatever. And that wasn't true early on in the season. Early on in the season, they were much more dedicated to playing through Viper, and that wasn't always delivering, and it could get messy. But that's not the No Org that's playing here today. This is a team of very experienced players with a lot of talent on this team. And I think they want to demonstrate that they don't belong on Team No Org. They belong on a team that, has a big org label, and, well, you'd be hard-pressed to disagree with them after that.
Yeah, because, I mean, coming into this, I had prepped. I was like, if you want to beat No Org, just wait for them to beat themselves. Because sometimes they used to go for these super aggressive plays time after time after time. They'd buy into the hype. They were like, we're No Org. We can beat pretty much everyone. And they'd go for these crazy dives, these crazy aggressive plays that were not advantageous for them.
They were
Yeah.
not finding things off them, but they were recovering from them afterwards. We saw none of that so far today.
Yeah, it used to be, especially during the early game, that Org would clearly suffer from not having the resources of somebody like a Golden Guardians, you know, not having a full coaching infrastructure behind them. You would see them kind of suffer from that in the way they played out those risks in the early game. But, you know, they looked like the team with more resources in that last game. And as I mentioned earlier, I don't want to boil it down to Academy versus Amateur, but I do think it is worth noting that No Org looked like the more organized team. Like, these are players putting in the work. They are spending time practicing as a team. You can see that in game. They are certainly spending the time practicing as individuals. And it looks impressive as hell. They are one of the teams to watch going on in this tournament. If you're talking about teams that could win it all, yeah, we're mentioning like a whole bunch of team names that end in Academy. But I'm also mentioning No Org.
Yeah, I think the one thing that I want to take away from this is just this has been a really cool microcosm for me, and I'm sure other followers of the amateur scene, of seeing what a team can develop into over time, because every single player, I feel like, has refined their style throughout the season rather, because going into it, Viper, yeah, could definitely mechanically check a bunch of top laners, but would do it on stupidly risky stuff like Vayne top or Kalista top. Eventually he figured, hey, maybe I shouldn't do that because that's kind of risky and I could lose the game for my team. And then that change was fantastic, and now we see him doing the same thing on Gnar and bringing that same energy, that same dominance on pretty much any champion he can bring to the draft.
It's the same mechanical dominance, but they can play through tactical dominance as well. And that is worth paying attention to as we head into the draft for game number 2. That was a sick segue, Matt Niberia Clendaniel.
Yeah, I was like, sure, I was on it by the second, then I was off by 2.
Well,
that's okay.
Last time, you had it all set up so that you were going to drop it and then the bumper was going to play, and you were wrong. And I just let you sit, and you yelled at me, so I'm trying to repair my mistake.
I appreciate it, TJ, thank you.
No problem, man. Let's talk about the pick ban, eventually. Senna hits the ban list for Golden Guardians. They are not interested in seeing it. Other notable presences here are the Hecarim and the Kaisa. Still on the cards is Rel. I would be very interested to see Golden Guardians pick it, but the honest truth is Chime doesn't play that genre of character, I think, that well. Certainly has played it this season. I prefer Chime on picks more like this, more like the Thresh, that are a little bit more enchantery, because they are an incredibly good Thresh player, an incredibly good enchanter player. So we will get a Thresh locked in, followed by a Volibear.
Yeah, I'm okay with the Volibear. It wasn't exactly like world shaking, but I don't think that was necessarily because Rosethorn was playing it poorly or anything. Golden Guardians Academy just didn't have anything to do. Like, there was nothing they could really do at a certain point to pull it back. So I want to see if there are picks that are going to avoid that. I think the Thresh is fantastic. Maybe if you pair it with like an Aphelios, just something that can smash through lane with that combo and scale into the later stages of the game. But of course, after banning out the Senna, that means the Twisted Fate goes over to 5-Fire and is immediately picked up.
Yeah, immediately picked up. 5-Fire wants that global presence. I'm very curious if we're going to see that Rel picked up in this. Yeah, no, okay. So it's a full run back for No Org. They see no reason to change anything, and I certainly understand that given the results of game number 1. But GG, of course, have things to change, and they know they've taken away that power lane in the bot side, so before the second ban phase hits, we're going to lock in their own power lane. Worth noting right now that the tournament patch is a couple patches behind, so Thresh is still very strong. You can expect to see something like a full WMAX Thresher behind this Jinx, and it gives them a scaling threat that can answer a Senna, though that's not in this game. You expect No Org to play that style of long scaling game, so you grab a Jinx that can match that. I really like this call from Golden Guardians.
Yeah, I really love Jinx as a champion. She's just looked fantastic recently. The buffs are working for her really well, that extra range in the rockets. And I'm interested to see what the answer will be from No Org, because so far for Golden Guardians, this is a strong lane down in the bottom lane, as well as a strong scaling pick for the AD carry. So I love their draft so far.
Yeah. I also really do like this start. We will hit the second pick phase or second ban phase, and no org are being very intelligent about it. Getting rid of the GP, getting rid of the scaling options in the roles they have already picked. The GP is something that could create trouble for them when they're trying to play those late games, just because the GP does get more powerful over time ad infinitum. So they can remove that. You also get rid of Alistair and Thresh for Golden Guardians, notably leaving Rel still in this video game. And I don't quite know why, because that would seem to be a fairly obvious choice for NoOrg at this stage.
Well, we know that her primary engage with her W can be shut down by things like Thresh's Flay, so I guess that's one reason they're not super afraid of it. But she's so good at engaging team fights. Like, maybe Big just does not like playing her. And they're betting on that, but he has played her.
Yeah, does have Rel on his record, so I would be shocked if that's not what is locked in here. But we also do not know what the AD carry is. We do get a rise in the mid lane for Yunbi. There is the Rel we talked about. Behold, the most powerful support picked in the 4th slot for NoOrg. Kind of wild that it got that far, and of course, yeah, this is a really good combo. You grab the Ezreal as well. This is, you know, this is wish list for NoOrg. I think their draft has actually improved by virtue of Golden Guardians trying to disrupt it. Obviously, the TK Senna is something you look for as a very quintessential stylistic pick for this bot lane. But just in terms of raw power, I think I actually like this more.
Yeah, I understand what the justification is, though, because you're looking at this as Golden Guardians, you're like, well, if they can't scale, they can't stay safe forever.
We closed this draft out, though, with Tally grabbing a Scion for the top side, which we have been seeing more of recently. Did see some competitive play, especially if you've been watching the, oh god, I'm gonna mess this up. OCL? Is that what the new OPL league is called?
Oh gosh, I've seen it on my timeline so many times.
You don't know either. That's
acronym.
Great. But if you have been watching Australian gameplay these days, they are running a lot of Scion. You're seeing it also in EU, so this makes a lot of sense for Tally to have in their pool. And I'm not sure how I feel about it into Nara. I simply don't have enough data there. So,
TJ, I remembered it. You got it exactly backwards. LCO.
LCO. I knew I had the letters. I'm dyslexic. I can blame that.
There you go. Going into this game, though, I really like what both these teams have brought to the table. Like you're saying, NoOrg has a lot of power in their competition, but I feel like Golden Guardians have clearly found what they want their answer to be. They want to outscale. They want to push themselves to that later stages of the game and just run it through with raw power. And I think that is a far cry from the last game.
Yeah, and they have that here. Watch the rise, watch the jinx. As we go late, Golden Guardians are gambling on being able to stay in this game and fight back after the 15-minute mark. How did NoOrg feel? They bring the Rel, they bring the Ezreal. Those are certainly teamfight threats, but maybe not as late. That's at least the gamble.
This level 1. Maybe Golden Guardians trying to get a little frisky here.
Show me another emote, Tally.
5v5, let's go. It's not going to happen, but you can always dream.
Yeah! Woo! Sorry. I was like, he's not going to do it again. Never going to see another thumbs up from Tally. And I got it.
But we sure did.
LCO? Was that it?
Yep.
I really should have known that. I'm sorry, Australia. I did a show with that ESL Australia studio. So I look at their setup, at least the one they show in the trailers, and one of the shots is from the show I did. So I really have no excuse. I know that production team. They're very nice.
Just like ours, just to point out. Oh man. Andre's gonna have words for you after this.
I'm just saying, producer Andre has never bought me a 6 Sydney hotel room.
The only thing he's gonna be producing for you after this game is hands.
Golden Guardians but change the subject real fast. Do have a little bit of a slow start across the map, obviously, but you want to see them be poking with this Thresh Jinx laying down bottom, especially before the Rel has multiple options up, before the Attractor Repel is available.
Yeah, she's just getting zoned completely off. You know what? She deserves it. I hate playing against Rel.
What?
I like seeing that champion suffer once in a while.
Okay, well, you're off the team. Rel's a lot of fun.
I'm sure she would be if I ever didn't have to play against her. I don't play enough support to actually get that experience.
You play with me, though. I play Rel.
Yeah, but I don't get to play Rel.
That sounds like a you problem. How is Viper doing this already?
You know, I was gonna be like, yeah, I guess Gnar just has really great level 1 shove. I don't think so. I really don't think so.
And admittedly, Sion starts a little slow. But Viper gets, like, the third wave underneath the turret there on the top side. Dominantly so. Not even, like, this is underneath the turret, but it's kind of technically underneath the turret, and they're not going to get anything from it. Viper's already doing turret damage up there.
Oh my god. And tally damage. And
Here
it is
comes
already
Anda.
here.
Yeah. Eager to make that tally damage. Oh, hang on. Eager to tally up that damage.
Ooh, good.
I knew there was some there.
And does complete the back, though, knowing that Viper is pretty safe up here, turns out. Because the big danger here is that Rosethorn is going to come up here and try and punish Viper's over-pushing. But he has such great escapes as Gnar. You've got the hop and just takes you 8 billion units away. So Viper, knowing exactly how to play on this line, and it's one of his strengths, especially on these champions like Gnar, like Jace, is just being able to play these lanes super aggressively, pushing super hard, and seemingly never really getting punished for it.
I do want to flank Chime's getting a little bit more aggressive this game, getting some aggro vision wards down, that sort of thing. Is he going to get that Aftershock, or sorry, that Demolish proc? I don't think he did.
No, I think they would have taken the plate. Viper is just bullying Tally.
Yeah, so low. You do have a roam from Anda headed up here as well. First Drake of the game is up, which makes this important. Anda is choosing not to fight over the first Drake. Has snuck into position unspotted though, past the jungler of Rosethorn, so this should be doable.
Viper just needs to shove one more wave, and
he's
looking
backing
for it.
You gotta go, you gotta force it.
Takes the tower shot. No one's here to respond. There's no teleports across the map, so just gotta try and clear this wave. Viper looking for a little bit more. Tally. Try and find something, but gets stunned up. First blood there for Anda.
Alright, that got a little bit sketchy, but Anda's able to step up and complete the kill. And now Golden Guardians are down quite a lot in the early game. Most of it over there on the top side. Indeed, a CS advantage passed over to Golden Guardians through their AD carry lane, which Rosethorn is taking advantage of to trade the first Drake of the game in exchange for that kill over onto Tally. So it's not all doom and gloom for my home team. I'm a California resident, that's why they're my home team.
It's like you Golden Guardian home? Okay. Forgot they were California natives. That dive is just clean as a whistle there from Anda.
I suppose technically all of the LCS teams are my home team because they're all based in LA.
Yeah.
But my local radio station that I tune in for baseball is also like the official affiliate for the Warriors. So I feel a little more
Yeah, I couldn't remember what they were called, so the sentence just petered out because I was like the Golden Guardian. No, that's the esports team. There's something else.
Well, the hosts of that radio station all say the Warriors. So there you go.
All right, well, I'll tuck that away next time I need it. So probably never, but
Never applying for the job. If Riot remember, they only gave us this cast as an April Fool's joke. Uh-oh.
Here comes the teleport in from Fire. Already level 7. Doesn't need the ultimate for this one. Chime in a whole lot of trouble. And will be taken down here. Value going to get the kill. So what I was going to say before that happened, though, TJ, was like, hey, this looks a lot better for Golden Guardians. They had a CS advantage on the Jinx, which is looking fantastic. They were keeping value down in CS, but now that CS leads even back up, Chime's down, and things are once again looking lukewarm for Golden Guardians. But they're a scaling composition. They got time.
Amber with a deep dive. They don't have any time back. Here comes Fire.
Oh!
There goes Prismal. Hook will land, but it's on the Big. Big can take those hits. Not that many, but a couple. Will eventually fall, but still, the kills go on over to No Org. They trade only their support for it. We take those.
Man, this is so far from the No Org that I'm used to casting. I'm used to it being just chaos every 3 minutes. And instead, they're just like, hey, it's been 180 seconds. You want to go get a pick? Like, yeah.
I mean, the aggression is still there, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Fire, maybe getting a little bit too aggressive. There's Rosethorn in that bush.
Rosethorn finds the stun. Fire, beautiful flash over the wall. Yunbi follows. Not
Just
where you
set
want to
up.
be. Biggs there. Fire finds it.
Just runs back around the corner, knowing his team's got his back. Only stands that aggressive in lane because that play was possible. Such good team play from No Org. None of whom would take up import slots, just saying.
I think the really cool thing this game and last game is that Anda has just like this laser focus and says, hey, I can give up the bottom lane, but the one thing I need to do, keep Viper in it, find the Herald, and set up for plays
Hex
across
flash.
the rest of the map.
Deep dive denied, but Magnet Storm still lands. Now a hook from Chime will slow this down. Give Prismal time to kite. Still gets stunned up by the Attract Repel, but they're doing an awful lot of damage, and here comes Rosethorn. A flash behind the turret. The ulti for Prismal. Value is gone, but here comes the TP from across the map. It is Viper arriving back.
Fire's here as well. The knockback from Viper. It's huge. Double stun. Teleport coming out from Golden Guardians, but it's too little too late. Prismal with a sliver of health remaining is still alive. Finds the kill onto Viper. Prismal is out. No Org cannot chase.
Golden Guardians fight back through the bottom lane. It is Prismal's time to shine as the true shot will fall short. Golden Guardians walk away. 3 kills to the better.
Golden Guardians turned that one around. I was thinking this was another No Org surgical strike, but Prismal playing out of their mind so far. Now 1-1-1 up 5 CS. Granted, it wasn't like Prismal got like 7 kills or anything, but staying alive in what should have been just a straight up assassination is so incredibly good for Golden Guardians.
Okay, so this first play is so good. Hex Flash in, but they do not have the Attract Repel bound until here because they wanted to execute that Hex Flash play. So Big doesn't get the initial stun, has to wait. Prismal finds the kill. Then, after, okay, we have a play breaking out on live. We may need to cut away here.
I think whoever was on blue is dead. Yeah, Fire was caught in that bush that we see right there by 3 members of Golden Guardians. So Golden Guardians really taking it back. They're down in gold, but they've made 2 incredible plays in a row. And this is something we didn't really get to see, a facet of Golden Guardians we missed last game. Because they were bleeding out slowly, but they weren't finding proactive plays that were getting them back into it. This game, they are.
Yeah, and of course that kill that they just found onto Fire sets up for this Drake. Prismal and Golden Guardians being able to zone No Org off of what would be their first strike of the game, giving Golden Guardians a chance at building that Drake win condition. Very, very important.
They're going to be looking for it. Rosethorn's down here. Viper's in the top lane, sans TP, so they could make this happen. Tally's without TP as well and is rotating top, so now would be a 4v4. Fire has Destiny. Could be a rough fight coming out if they do want to go for it. Rosethorn still looking. Spotted by No Org's ward.
Okay, No Org know what is up as Yunbi starts it. You have a roam up from the bot lane. Golden Guardians do have Prismal and Chime in this fight as well. Ando will step up for it, but the Drake is already taken.
Oh my god, and it just gets blown up there. Prismal looking for the chase onto Big.
Prismal holds. That was a lot of damage just jumped into Big. There was the Rift Herald summoned successfully by Noorg at the start of that fight over towards the top side, and it does get some turret plates. But if we pan down towards this bottom line, which our wonderful observers are already on the case for, you can see that that amount of turret damage is being equaled and then some by the good old raw right-clicking of Prismal.
Powerful right clicks, TJ. Up a lot more now.
Yeah. That gold lead is going to continue to grow. Prismal just got more kills and will presumably back off of it alongside this turret gold that they just got. Very, very important stuff. Golden Guardians really in this game, number 2.
Yeah, they're still behind in gold, but if you look at the AD carries, Prismal's ahead by 500. Like, that is not insignificant at all. Most of the gold lead, in fact, is the difference between the top lane. If you just take away the difference between Viper and Tally, they're dead even. And I think you're fine with Viper having the gold right now because Tally's only job to be there in team fights, be there as an engaged tool or a disengaged tool to keep Prismal and Yunbi safe.
And off of that, 10-minute fight that Prismal was able to survive and build a gold lead off of, the Golden Guardians have just kind of been able to snowball this. The one place that snowball is not rolling, one place there is no snow, no matter how cold the weather gets, is that top lane.
Doing like a Christmas special in the middle of the series?
I was actually thinking of England, where sometimes it gets really, really cold, and you're like, get some snow, it's going to be great, and then it's just cold and miserable.
Oh, good.
Sometimes it'll get, like, literally cold enough to snow, and then not snow. And I was just, I was that visceral experience of being a kid in my head.
Ando looking for the engage. Counter engages there from Rose Thorn.
Magnet
Big
Storm!
with a huge Magnet Storm. Finds some damage, but not enough. Yunbi still alive in the back line. Rose Thorn finds the answer onto Big.
Show me the replay. I need to see Prismal's Death Rocket again. That just hit the entire team for so much damage.
Oh my god.
But Chime has got other things on the agenda. Value. Oh, the Lantern in. Prisma is here, but they will not find the kill.
Dangerous territory here. Golden Guardians pulling it back bit by bit by bit.
We'll see what Noorg can get done behind this turret as Rose Thorn is just scooped out. Viper still dominantly ahead, but not far enough to win. Chime very, very far ahead. In their own right. When the bot lane is winning, the AD carry is big. You obviously talk a great deal about the AD carry, but it's also worth noting, Chime's doing pretty well as well, and you're going to start seeing that impact, how these plays happen. A Thresh with gold is so much more impactful than a Thresh that's behind, especially in this meta where supports have so much room to grow, which is the nice spin on the fact that they don't get any gold. You get a Thresh with a decent amount during the early game. They're like, oh, I could afford 3 items. Okay, show me this rocket. Oh, I love our observers.
Oh,
boom!
Dirty. Beautiful. It does so much damage, gets the assist for all 3. I think that's really the more important thing than any of the damage it could do. Because then Prismal just gets free $300.
Yeah.
Signing bonus for that team fight.
Yunbi also does a really good job staying alive out of that fight, being able to just kind of kite it and then pump in spells from the side. Rose Thorn, a huge part of that, doing really good zoning. Like, that was overall just a very clean team fight for Golden Guardians. Noorg are being shuttered out of their game 2 dominance. My attention turns towards this Drake that's coming up to see if we manage to perpetuate that. 41 seconds on it. Golden Guardians have matched the lane swap.
Tally, of course, just playing defensively, keeping Viper busy, and I think this was really the choice that solidified this draft because Viper was the way they got through the last game. They made sure Tally was useless. Now, he's fine. He's there to catch waves. He's there to answer in team fights, keep Viper off of people. And now Viper's lead doesn't feel like it has mattered thus far. It's still there, but Noorg don't have leads really anywhere else. So as a result, Golden Guardians are just taking control of this game bit by bit.
I just love Ezreal's true shot. It's a very fun ability to watch.
The best. Stun onto
And
Rosethorn.
yeah, stamping up. Rosethorn will be lanterned away. Chime is spotted here. Firefire hovering on the Destiny. Rather boring TP after the threat of it. Forces Golden Guardians to back away. That skirmish does go the way of no org, especially if they find Yunbi, who is pumping out so much damage. Here comes Rosethorn.
No way to find it. Rosethorn goes in,
Oh!
saves Yunbi. Big is low, not down yet. There's the double from Yunbi. And I think this game, as quickly as it was started, is ending. This has been 3 fights in a row where Golden Guardians have won unavoidably, inarguably. And they're going to be looking for the 3rd Drake of the game. This is sole point at 18 minutes.
They have 2 scaling carries, Yunbi and Prismal. And if you look at where the gold lead is, it is on those 2 scaling carries, especially after that last fight, where Yunbi locks down 2 consecutive kills, benefiting from the previous engagement there in mid, as Prismal wins a 1v1 with the turret. 1v3, actually. Viper was on his way.
So I think what I'm taking away from this one, TJ, don't give Yunbi rise. That really feels like
very good performance from Yunbi.
Yeah, that feels like my big highlight here, because Yunbi game number 1 was like fine, but not this dominant. Viper looks for an engage here.
Does find it, and the turret goes down as well. As the dive follows, Viper will fall. Prismal still has more than enough damage to chase down these kills. Turret over to no org. Nothing more, and as they lose their top laner, they may lose more. You can see poor value running for their life through the top side.
And this is the lead that Golden Guardians are establishing. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yunbi just found him. He doesn't get to back, does shift over the wall now.
Oh! Okay, Prismal, calm down. Beautiful, beautiful. Death Rocket down to the bottom lane onto Firefire.
There aren't any wards. That was just prediction. They knew where Firefire was vaguely, lined up the shot and nailed him. Firefire is trick shot off the map. And this is going to be going into Prismal's montage. An incredibly good game from the Golden Guardians AD carrier. That means, as it always does, an incredibly good game for the Golden Guardians. They are well and truly ahead with a composition that favors them late. This is the complete inversion of what No Org were able to pull out in game number 1 because of that. Now, I don't think Golden Guardians have been as dominant, but I do think they have taken apart No Org. It has been enough.
Now, Golden Guardians have finally found their way to a gold lead. They've been running at a deficit this entire game, which sounds crazy. But it's just off CS in the top lane, or had been, CS in the jungle. And the advantage is finally back in Golden Guardians' pocket on paper, as well as in the game. Because Golden Guardians have just been taking fight after fight after fight after fight, and have not been able to be quashed by No Org. Prismal does so much damage. Yunbi, like, 3 shots people. Getting into 2-shot territory even, it's terrifying.
We're running out of time for the Rift Town. Where do we put it, Chief?
Top mid, I guess.
Sure. Here comes Geraldo. Oh no. Value doesn't have the damage to stop it. Boom!
No. Finds the eye, for the time being though. Just 1 charge.
Destiny is procced. Firefire onto Prismal here around the side. Does it the backup from Value. Magnet Storm blocks down the Retribution, but you still have Tally diving into the backlines. Golden Guardians able to buy so much time with Tally's intervention. Tally will finally go down as Viper takes to the front lines, replacing the fallen hero of Big and is stalling things up. Prismal in the meantime losing to Anger, but barely edges out the damage, and Chime lanterns him away. That saves the day. Viper finds the kill at range. That is the only thing going No Org's way towards the end of that team fight, and indeed Viper's sort of in trouble here. as Rose Thorn challenges Fate underneath the turret.
I don't know how much trouble he's in there, TJ, just dissuaded the entirety of GG's remaining players. But the fight didn't go their way. Viper can be as fantastic in 1v1, 1v2, 1v3 as he wants to be. But eventually it's just going to be him left. That's what we're seeing fight after fight. Sure, you have a lead, Viper, but it's starting to evaporate. It's not enough to keep Prismal down, to keep Yunbi down, and Golden Guardians win another team fight.
Another team fight in a game that has been defined by them winning team fights. Now 15 kills to their name, and as you say, a very narrow gold lead, which should be indicative of that. This is the Drake that is make or break, though. One more team fight for Golden Guardians to seal this game up. Like Tupperware, Matt.
Airtight.
Airtight.
Able to find the Scuttle Crab. Viper looking for a little bit more. True Shot Barrage into the back. But no full engage coming out just yet.
Poke in onto Viper.
There's the death sentence. Looking for Anda. Anda runs away at Mach speed.
Realm Warp.
There goes Realm Warp into the backside. Viper is so low.
Huge
Big with the
stun.
Magnet Storm, but Prismal is untouched. Finds Viper. There's the shutdown from Yunbi as well. Fire looking for the flank, but only finds Rose Thorn. Forced off the fight, and now Golden Guardians find their way to Mountain Soul at 23.5 minutes.
And for what feels like the third time in a row, Big and Viper find such good CC, such a good setup, but there's no access for the carries. Value and Fire, who are supposed to be the damage dealers, just lose straight up if they step into range versus Prismal, so they can't. So they can't challenge Yunbi, they can't challenge Prismal. And they just get zoned off of the fight entirely. It doesn't matter how good your front line is, if there cannot be any follow-up, and that is the case as Golden Guardians lock in the Mountain Soul and look to drive us all the way to our second Game 3 of the evening.
This was an insane fight from Prismal. Just look at the back of this, how safe Prismal stays the entire time. Zoned off between Anda and the rest of the team. Then when Viper and Big try and go in, Prismal is still on the right side. That huge Magnet Storm, Prismal is untouched. And then Fire looks for the flank around the side, but Rose Thorn is already moving around to keep Prismal between him and the entirety of No Orb.
Had enough of your teleporting card, boy.
Just takes him down every time. Golden Guardians.
Oh, this is
gonna be rough.
Maybe not. Value's playing it safe. We'll have to Arcane Shift over the wall, but the entire team gets away, save for Viper, who's taking his time clearing a wave, and Golden Guardians have learned their lesson. They're not going to fight into that.
Fire was potentially looking for Yunbi, but I don't know if that's a fight you win at all, my friend.
No.
10,000 HP on the Baron. Destiny has been popped at this point.
Yeah. Hook will go wide. No Org, no. Can they steal? TP from Yunbi, long flank, challenging Fire.
Fire finds the stun, but may die in the meantime, has to flash away. Meanwhile, Big looking for engages across the map. You're not going to find them
Big
there, my
gets
friend.
away.
Yunbi has the Realm Warp, but it doesn't go through Zonia's. That was changed like 2 years ago. And the shutdown comes out. Yunbi in trouble as Golden Guardians forced off the Baron, and No Org win their first fight in 15 minutes.
Ride like the wind, Big. Yeehaw. Charlie will find him. This is a full focus onto the Baron. In the meantime, though, they're taking advantage of the fact the entire team is chasing Big. No Org are spotted out. That was a ward. The Scryer's Bloop over the wall. They know what's going on. What do Golden Guardians do? They step up into this fight.
They're looking for it. True Shot Barrage in the backline doesn't do a whole lot of damage just yet. Chime and Prismal get slammed into the wall, but it's not enough. They're back to autoing. Prismal is safe in the backside, getting harassed by Big. No Org just don't have enough damage to chew through this front line. Tally finds a knockup. Big finds a Magnet Storm. Finally, someone has access to Prismal, but it's not enough. Prismal finds another kill. The double kill in for Tally, and Golden Guardians rout No Org once again.
Yeah, Value's doing damage the whole time, but Matt, doesn't matter how many times you do the damage, how many times you add up the numbers, The math doesn't lie. Prismal out-damages value, and there is so much HP to just reject them. Here's Viper, fresh off a reset of their HP bar, trying to interrupt this Baron one more time.
I don't know about this one. Has the ultimate available. If you want to go for the Hail Mary, you can, but that's against Prismal and Yunbi. No way you do enough damage in time to stop them.
Oh, they do it.
Oh, zoning
Golden
them off
Guardians.
at the very least.
Yeah, zoned off. Viper is in trouble, will hop away. Here comes Fire off of the TP. Realm Warp is here, but it does not matter. Yunbi is so low. Yunbi is dead. Oh, dear Lord. No Orc maybe turning this as they step forward into Prismal. They've got Prismal. No Orc turning for the Baron. What is this game, man?
We're looking for it. This could be the way No Orc find their way back into this game. Value has not put out enough damage just yet, but Fire and Anda don't do a whole lot to this Baron. They have time. 25 seconds on both the mid laner and AD carry of Golden Guardians.
Rosethorn is on the map. There is a smite for Golden Guardians, but they've either decided to concede this or cannot fathom that No Orc would rush the Baron. I have to imagine it is the former, as the Baron does get locked in, and No Orc, out of nowhere, out of a, 8-minute team fight, I would say the wildest Baron I've ever seen, but there have been some games of Proving Grounds already, do lock down the Baron and a ticket, a path, a window back into this game.
And Viper and Fire, this is really the carry duo they have left. Fire there to provide the CC. Viper and Mininar formed to just throw some boomerangs at people, and it is enough to take them down. No Orc have finally exercised their lead that they had for most of the game. The problem they are running into now is that they're against Mountain Soul. Sure, they've got a Baron, but they're against Soul, and unless they can find significant leads elsewhere, I feel like this is nothing but a delay.
Yeah, maybe. And that was presumably Golden Guardians' logic for conceding that Baron. So what? They get it. We still have the scaling comp. We still have the team fight advantage. Let them have their victory. They can't get anything more. And as the Elder Drake emerges, and this Baron buff cannot be used anywhere close to the Golden Guardians base, you cannot help but agree with them.
Chime stunned up. Anda looking for more. Only finds Rosethorn. Forced to flash out. True Shot Barrage does not find anyone. Viper going in. Looking for the stun. But stunned up himself. Finally finds it. But not on the carries. Magnet Storm into the backline.
Down.
Finally, Prismal goes down. Triple kill for Anda as they chase further into Golden Guardians. They've been routed. They've been taken down. A near ace as No Orc push into the base with Baron.
Are they going to end? 30, 40 seconds on the respawns. They do have Baron, as you say. A turn back to save this mid lane fight where Fire is in trouble. Big will join that. 20 seconds on respawns with the Baron in hand. Here come No Orc. You can knock him around for 30 minutes. You can get the soul, the mountain soul. It does not matter. They win game number 2 and take the series over Golden Guardians.
As close to speechless as I've ever been, TJ.
That was the single fastest turnabout I've ever seen. They were on the back foot pretty much the entire game. They had a gold lead early on, sure, but slowly and slowly it was getting closed by Golden Guardians, point by point by point. And suddenly, No Orc find a Baron fight. They find a Baron, and they find the end of the game in the span of 2 minutes. How do you stop them?
I would argue it wasn't in the span of 2 minutes. It was over the course of an 8-minute Baron fight. And it was why I was so nervous when Golden Guardians, as I said, made the entirely understandable decision to cede that Baron. You cannot give No Org a crack. You cannot give them a window, because this team is so good. Here's Prismal's montage, lest we forget just how good Prismal was across this game. Very good production.
Double replay. Thanks, production. Yeah, I think this was really a story of how tantalizingly close Golden Guardians came to a victory. They played beautifully throughout it. I mean, Prismal and Yunbi doing fantastic jobs. Oh,
Oh, yeah. That's good. Replay it again. Let's go. There we go. This blind rocket onto 5fire was like the epitome of the game up to that point. They were playing so
Game's
well.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this happens.
Yeah, I've fit this into a replay production, I dare you. I think it's going to be multiple. First fight goes very well. This is actually the second fight where No Org had like big roaming around the top side being chased like by everyone. And then you can watch this entire fight. His value is just poking, pumping damage in, landing all of his spells, but it just doesn't matter because he doesn't have enough damage to really threaten these big carries. But he gets allowed to free fire for so long that he's able to find 2 kills, and that is enough as he takes down the Scion and Volibear. And you can watch Viper and 5fire come back around and somehow manage to win the game. Because that's what this is. This is No Org winning the game.
And it was such a beautiful turnaround because the fight afterwards, they did the same thing. They were able to find Prismal, something they had failed to do throughout the entire game. But Big comes in, those crazy magnet storms he's been finding. Finally, 5fire finds the flank. Finally, they execute on the 80 carry. Yunbi, last one standing, gets taken down by Value, who's no longer being pressured from 800 range from the Jinx. And then No Org pushed through to the win.
What a game. Matt, I am so pleased that that is our final game of Proving Grounds today. You could not ask for a better seal. Of course, we will be back tomorrow, so make sure you're tuning in for that. One of the games, both the games, will be on your screen right now. Immortals Academy taking on EG Prodigies. The winner goes on to play Dignitas Academy, the victor of our first series today. Then you follow that up with, guess what, Matt? Barrage. The hottest horse out of the amateur scene, struggling with tech issues, DQs, horrible things happen to them. They finally qualify, and their reward, well, they play TLA in the first round. The winner of that goes on to play No Org.
It's going to be a hell of a series tomorrow, but I mean, I'm still reeling from our second series today. I can't believe No Org found that turnaround because we've seen some crazy turnarounds throughout the Proving Grounds circuit, right? We saw the 40-minute game from CLG Academy versus Dignitas Mirage, and I thought nothing could get crazier because the entire game, CLG were behind, CLG were struggling, then they finally took it back inch by inch. This wasn't inch by inch. This was flipping Golden Guardians on their heads immediately at like the 28, 29-minute mark.
I will contest the wildest thing I've ever seen. The wildest thing I've ever casted is that, like, 8-minute-long Baron fight.
Yeah.
That just kept on rolling, and you notice that Big is isolated. Then the entirety of Golden Guardians decide to chase Big, but he's a rel, so he just leaves. And No Org are looking at this, and they're like, oh, 5 people are nearby just over this wall. You know what I'm going to do? We're going to start the Baron. And it works! Kind of. They lose that fight, but they do enough damage that off the respawns as their players arrive back on the scene. 5fire using the Destiny TP. They have enough to have even numbers, even advantage numbers, given the HP bars, and win out the fight.
It was just crazy, and I mean, the entire game I was like, well, Viper's being basically stonewalled by this Scion. Every time Viper tries to do something, there's Tally in his way, just beefing it up. And then suddenly, there's one fight where Tally is no longer really a factor. And Viper goes in and is like, I think I can do something about this. And he does! He just straight up takes this crazy 1v2, almost dies, 5fires there, suddenly, off the Destiny, finds the stuns, finds the fight, and that's what set up that other Baron fight. And it was just beautiful play after play after play, after they had been losing, I want to say, from minutes like 13 to 20 or 25 in terms of tempo. Golden Guardians had took 3-4 fights in a row, and we cannot understate how well they played that game, the series as a whole as well. And No Org still turned it.
Like we said at the end of game number 2, at the end of game number 1, at the beginning of game number 2, No Org are a team that you have to talk about in consideration for winning this entire event. And if they can come back from a start that bad, well, I think you have to agree with me now. You have to be on that train. Obviously, it's an uphill climb. Obviously, they don't have the resources of the Academy teams, but they do have comparable experience. They do definitely have comparable talent. Don't count them out. What a showing for Golden Guardians as well. I do want to touch on that because, of course, they were a team that struggled over the course of the Academy season. They only went 2-7. It was a really rough Academy season, to be frank. They went into amateur competition and lost a fair number of games to, I'm going to say it, not the best amateur teams. They were playing against some of the, second-string amateur teams and playing close games, losing games. And they have turned that around to be such a different team and such a promising team. You talk about cultivating talent oftentimes when you're looking at the amateur and the academy scene. That's always what people want the amateur and academy scene to be for, and I think you're seeing that over on that Golden Guardians roster.
Yeah, I think we cannot understate how much both of these teams have been growing throughout the season. Like, this is so much better than the Golden Guardians that we have seen in previous series, and same for NoOrg.
Speaking of cultivating talent, though, we do have an interview with the talent himself. We've got Fivefire on the line.
Hello.
Hey, Aiden. It's been a while. You do come in here. I want to, we can get to everything else. There's a whole lot of gameplay we can talk about. I want to talk about 8 minutes of Game 2, during which there was an uninterrupted team fight that you guys eventually won to turn back the series. What are the comms like? How are you talking through that?
I mean, we were already in a pretty difficult spot at that point in the game, so we're behind. We're just trying to, we're trying to troubleshoot. We're trying to problem solve. Like, what can we do? If they make this mistake, we can punish. But yeah, really, it was just a crazy series of events where it looked like we were winning, and then we were losing, and then we came back, we were winning again, and then in the end, we were able to follow through. And Viper and I, the double solo lanes, were able to come in and take everyone down. So it felt pretty good.
I mean, my question is following up on that. What were the comms like when you guys found that pick around the side of Baron Pit where Viper was like 1v2 and you were like, this is our angle. This is it. I'm going to find it. Because I thought that was doomed. I just thought you were both about to die very quickly.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was all on a knife's edge, it's just constant back and forth. Like, can we look here? Can we look here? Like, is it possible? Is it possible? Is it possible? Okay, we can try. Like, okay, looks good. Okay, we're just careful. Okay, good. Okay, we won. Go Baron. Like,
it's a very good
pretty
reenactment.
Frantic, pretty hectic, but it's why I love playing with the team. We're just always constantly communicating, constantly looking for those outplays, so it's awesome.
All right, I'm going to hit you with 2 questions back to back. First of all, what changed during that Game 2? Because so much of the game, Prismal looked untouchable. To get a little bit more analytical, why do you think, not only in the Crazy Baron fight where everything was chaotic, but in the fight immediately following it, where you guys still kind of were at a disadvantage, why were you suddenly able to get access to Prismal? What do you think changed there?
I mean, we were being very cautious because in the previous fights, a lot of times the Jinx, like we said, Prismal was just free hitting, right? He's just getting tons of damage down. So one big change we had in the last fight was we made sure that he didn't get any time to free hit. Like, if he was trying to hit us, we were going to be hitting him back. And I think maybe that pulled him in a little bit more. I'd have to watch it again to see for sure. But then my support, Big Terry, he found the angle really in the end. I was able to follow up on it, luckily, but he found the insane angle, kept the guy CC'd forever, and he just got one shot and felt really good.
And then to close things out, you guys obviously have advanced into the tournament. I'm going to give you a peek into the broadcast. We've been talking a big game about you. I've said multiple times on air that I expect you guys to go pretty deep in this tournament. How are you guys thinking about it? You guys have a ton of experience on your team. You're certainly capable of playing toe-to-toe with these academy rosters. Are you going to go all the way? What's kind of your goal?
I mean, I think ultimately our goal is to go all the way. We think we have the capability. We think we have the strength and the experience to take it to every single team in this tournament. Even though we have to come in as 7th seed because we're an amateur squad, that doesn't mean that we are the 7th seed, in my opinion. I think we're better than a lot of the teams here, and I think we can contest for even top 3. So, it'll be a tough battle. Like, for example, Golden Guardians have improved so much since we last played them. They made us fight for these wins, but we're ready to fight for every single one in the future too. So we'll be coming for them.
All right. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Take a breather, get a good night's sleep, and good luck in the rest of the tournament.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thank you to Five Fire. That was very eloquent as always, and we forgot to mention TJ. That interview was powered by Verizon Wireless. How could we? The connection was just so clear, I forgot to mention it.
Glad you're on that. What a good day of games overall. That does close us out here, but we got two incredible wins. Seeing Dignitas Wildcard go that close was already a treat for my little amateur heart. And then we follow it up with No Org dominating Game 1, but then also, very important to my heart, Golden Guardians, a team I got to watch grow over the entire season, almost bring it back versus one of the most terrifying teams in this tournament.
Yeah.
And that very nearly goes 3 games as well. A great day of Proving Grounds.
I'm so happy. And then, of course, we've got more Proving Grounds this week. Before we go on to round 2, we got 2 more matches for you. Tomorrow, we have Immortals Academy versus EG Prodigies. And then after that, we've got Team Liquid Academy versus Barrage. Both promise to be banger matchups, to say the least.
Yeah, so that's all from us. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much to our production crew, our observers who were incredible today, as well as our producer, Andre. Thank you very much to the players. And congratulations to those who are moving on. Good luck to those who are now fighting through the lower bracket. You won't want to miss those games. Be sure to follow twitch.tv/academy, all the various channels. We will see you tomorrow and the day after on these channels with more League of Legends action across the LCS and Academy. For now, though, have a great rest of your evening.